All right. Welcome, everybody, to our live listening session as we start to make our way in. Super excited for you to be here. I'm excited. I always get to listen to some amazing music, give my feedback, maybe just chime in a little bit on some and help give perspective to certain things. But that's what we're doing here on this call. So, throughout this time, what we're going to be doing is just going into the community, giving a little bit of listening to some music, giving feedback, and then maybe answering some questions that you guys might have that you want to just talk about. And it's just our time to just hang. Really, the intention here is how do I continue to just encourage you guys on the journey that you're on for making music. So that's what this is all about. So let me just give you a little bit of details, updates, certain things that are going on. As you might know, we're in a new community format. For those who've been a part of Beat Academy for a while, we used to have this other community forum, and there were two separate logins, two separate kind of planets that we were living on. Now everything's in one. But with that, there's certain things that we lost that I missed from the old forum, and there's certain things that we gained that are pretty cool. But yet we're all still kind of getting to know how to navigate throughout all this. All right. So let me go ahead and start by just sharing our screen here. And let me know once you guys can see the screen. Can everybody see the screen? Let me just post the chat up. Yep. All right, great. Thanks, Miles. So what we've got going on is in this forum, in this community, obviously what we have here is our the Q&A. This is where you guys are obviously posting your music, but I've just posted a new brief, and that's in our challenges area. So I just want to direct your attention to this scene right here with challenges. And let me just turn off all of my notification stuff here really quick. All right. So in challenges, I'm posting challenges that we are doing and focusing in on per month. Every month there's going to be a challenge. This is just a great way to just hold yourself accountable to getting certain things done. Each challenge has their own unique challenge, and their specific goal in mind. So you can see we have the next couple months already kind of planned out. Right now we're doing Past the Idea. And so with Past the Idea, right now you can join that challenge if you haven't signed up already. Just click join. But essentially what we're doing here is we're having people post their ideas and inviting others to really download that idea, mess with it, kind of just like, hey, here, this is a really cool vibe. Let me add something to it. Let me pass it right back to somebody else. And so what you would do is just reply back with I guess what we would have to do is just kind of reply back with the finished product. I'm still trying to figure out how. I'm learning how to actually map this out well enough. So yeah, trying to figure out how to do with this. But essentially, we'll listen to the. You can go over here. Basically go into your submission, click the edit button, and then re-edit your post with the updated idea that you guys started working on. All right. Now, other than challenges, we have opportunities, and I just posted a new opportunity I want to spend a little time talking about. And this is a 60-second spot trailer for a Brooklyn bar. Now, I have personal direct contact and network contacts with the agency that's putting this together. So essentially what this is this is literally the director of this, which is the best place to be in, because if I have a direct connection, that means I'm not going to an agency and waiting to hear back from them. Oh, you're only hearing me through the left channel. Okay, let me figure this out. How about now? You guys able to hear me now? Okay, should be able to hear me. Okay, great. Sorry about that. Sometimes that happens. All right. So let me go back to here really quick, and then we'll get into checking out the music. So I have a direct contact here. So this brief is directly from I'm overseeing quality control and then handing that right over to the director. So that's a great thing, because essentially that's an opportunity for anybody who wants to get their music showcased on this spot. Now, budgets like 0 to nothing. Let's just say there's no budget there. But I did want to present this opportunity because the director has an agency that they are now actually trying to get more work from this. They have several other bars, and so they're really trying to best position them to doing all the different locations, and with that will come a better budget. So, but hey, this is a great opportunity. This is an official campaign, so if you want to strive for that now, join it so you can be notified. And somebody brought up that, hey, I'm not getting these notifications. I'm not seeing when a new brief is put on there. I don't want to miss out because a lot of these briefs come and go. So how can I stay up to date with these opportunities? Well, what I just figured out I'll do is I'll create an announcement here on the top, and that announcement is going to let you know more or less that I've posted a new opportunity. So with that announcement posted, you'll see it right when you log in, whether you're using the mobile app or the desktop. There will be a new brief, and it pings you via email letting you know, hey, a new brief and opportunity has been posted. So you definitely want to correspond to that. All right. So I'm figuring out how to best inform you guys of what's going on. Obviously, with the meetups here, you go to the meetup tab, and this will show you all the meetups we've done, or you can highlight the upcoming ones here that you want to be a part of, or the ones that you're currently attending. And then I'll also post a replay link in that meetup. So the one we're doing here, once our meetup is done, I'll post a replay link here that you can access, as well as post it in the circle as well. We tried doing the live room thing. That was an epic fail for our first one, our last month. So yeah, anyways, all good. Any questions? We're ready to start. Waiting for you guys. Let me know. David says yes. Yes again. All right. Well, with David's confirmed approval, we will move forward. All right, let's go right in. All right, so first track, let me actually head over here to the Q&A section. Let's go down. A lot of great tracks today, guys. Why is it stopping there? Oh, I love technology. All right. Okay, that's weird. So maybe I need to repost. Maybe do this again. Hold on. All right, let's do this here. Popularity. And then I'm going to switch to newest, oldest. And it just keeps going down. Okay, there we go. It just takes a while. All right, so we're listening to Sweatshop. Let's check out your tune. And here we go. Yeah, this is super crazy tight. This is really cool. One thing that just kind of stuck out to me as we were getting the section, I was kind of like, I was waiting for that announcement of this chorus section. I mean, I was wanting to hear a little bit more of a lift, as much as like similar to what we heard in the beginning here in this section. Yeah, I think we could have had a little bit more of an announcement as we got into that chorus section here. Maybe even just like the crash cymbal, like that drop before we get into the song here. Like, is it not phasey now? Hold on one second. People are saying that. Should be good now. Check this out. Okay, yeah, music should be all right now. And I think you're probably hearing me on the left side for a moment, but trying to figure this out. All right, so let me get to some initial feedback. The pre, and I don't know if you're there right now. Okay, so that the connection between the pre-chorus and the chorus was I mean, how do I say this? It just didn't really lift up the way I think it should have lifted, because I couldn't distinct between the pre-chorus and that chorus section, because not the melody wasn't driving it there as much. But it's okay, you can get the production to kind of announce a little bit more, drop everything out, and make it really pronounced, is what I'm saying. You see, it's a little bit more pronounced there, but we had that initial breakdown, right? You had that transition, you break down, you filter things out, then you get to this thing, like bring a tambourine loop, or like a shaker, something that's just continuously moving that motion with a little bit more in the high frequency range that can add a little bit energy there. So let's just get a little bit more energy when we announce that, I don't need you. That I'm assuming would be some automation. Yeah, it's a sweet spot there. Okay, you are here. Great. All right, so yeah, I know my vocals coming on the left. Right now, I'm just gonna have to deal with that so that I can get the music in the stereo. I think that's a little bit more worth it. But yeah, Sweatshop, make a little bit more announcement there of that section so that we really feel like, okay, yeah, we got the chorus. It's coming in. It's a celebration. But all around, the track and everything you got going on is great. Yeah. Don't know what's going on with the audio. Gosh, man. We will have a week or a session where it is flawless. I don't know what's going on with the new system, so I might need to go back to like using OBS or something. I apologize for that, guys. Let me. Don't know why. Okay, I'm not gonna waste time trying to figure that out. Let me go to the next song. Does that make sense, Sweatshop? So, yeah, I think you did a great job there. Just now. Let's just create some more energy and lift. Let's head over to Vincent McDonald.
Kids deserve snacks that both nourish them and taste great. Dollar General, Mott's, and Nature Valley are here to help with that. Mott's real fruit and veggie. Nature Valley's tasty whole grains make smarter snacking a no-brainer. Stop by your local
All right, and we got to get some. I guess I don't know why am I getting the ads. I have my account. I'm in my account. And I'm still getting ads. Alright, well, we're going to have to... I have an ad-free account. Alright, sorry, guys. Ads. Goodness gracious. Well, while that's going on, how's everyone doing? Alright, okay, so let me hear this again.
Find me a better feeling than coming home to your love. Your eyes feel like the emotions in art. And how would I know? What do I care if I've fallen too hard? 'Cause I know in the end I'll fall in your arms. You're my beacon in the dark when the lights are low and my body is numb. And in the constant of my chaos, you hold me close. You won't let go. to your heart when your body surrenders. Reaching in the dark, blowing fire from embers. Everything ended when I locked eyes with my little lady. Woman like her make life feel less ordinary. Lately my heart sings 1 + 1. Oh, lately my heartstrings have come undone. All I know is a good life worth living lately. All I know is a life lived with my little lady. Wake in the morning, I'm a falling disaster. Your hands and eyes, all that I ask for. Oh, oh.
Yeah, that's super cool, Vincent. I mean, that's awesome. So just a couple things here. I love the stripped down simplicity of this. Definitely takes me into some like early Ed Sheeran vibe stuff. Love the character of the vocal. Love what's going on here. So a couple things. Yeah, I think there is a bit of a distance between that dry vocal. I love that dry vocal. I think it's the right tone, right? I think it's the right character for what you're doing. So then you have a little bit of the distance issue, so like almost the proximity. So we got the vocal a little bit way up front than the acoustic guitar stuff. So I would maybe just bring the vocal dial back a little bit volume wise, so there's a little bit more balance. And then also when you have that kick drum that's coming in on the bed, it's really I don't think it's just subby. There's just something going on.
Seen it all and all.
Yeah, it's like the kick drum. I would just cut a little bit of some of that low end rumble that's going on from that kick drum. It's just coming in a little bit muddy. So just be careful with that. Remember, when it's just an acoustic guitar, a kick drum, and a vocal, the kick drum doesn't need to be that crazy present because it's not fighting a lot of elements to come through. Right? It's really the only one that's leading the charge down there frequency-wise. So you don't need to have it really big or that dominant of a feature. It's just there. Let it create that pulse. Let it be felt more than heard. And so that's something to consider. But all in all, I think it was it's just a great work. So yeah, keep doing that. Try doing those little tweaks there and see what happens. But yeah, all around, great job. All right, let's head to our next one. I think it's, yep, Kit Grennan. Here we go. Yeah, that's a pretty cool vibe. Just good old like nice rock there. I think it was a bit heavy on the right side. Would have liked a little bit more balance with like a guitar, a little on the left. But definitely just, I mean, you nailed the rock blues parts on there. So this is a great contender if you're starting to start to build a portfolio of this kind of stuff that you can then pitch for sync opportunities. I think what you need to start doing is just batching a bunch of these kind of vibes and then start doing a lot of the metadata work where you're researching, emotives and emotional tags and labels for this. But this is great to go into a catalog that you want to use for sync. I think it could definitely be that. And there's a world where you have sync composers, like people who are composing instrumentals or composing music to get placed. And then there's like that section where you're just trying to develop your sound as an artist, or you are an artist, or you're featuring more of the songwriting process and trying to get those songs placed there. Yeah, they're both in that same umbrella, but they kind of, each one has a slight different strategy and how to excel in that one. So for the composer side, you definitely want to batch out. You want to have a niche down, find music production houses that are like that could use this as their library, and yeah, it'll be a great move. So really great job, really good. Let's keep moving. Todd, all right, let's drop in. Yeah, I'm sorry about the mono and stereo. I don't know why. It seems for some people, you guys are hearing this in stereo. Some are hearing it in mono. I'm getting in stereo. It's showing I have stereo enabled here on my end with Zoom. So yeah, maybe it's the webinar mode that I'm in. I'll probably have to change that for our next meeting. But yeah, we'll work with that. All right, so let me pause there because this is a great example. Okay, so this is such a great vibe. I mean, you're nailing in because you got your Radiohead, you got the 90s grunge, like the Sonics, great soundtrack, everything's there, all the parts and the ingredients there. I'm actually focusing on the melodic phrasing here, like where we're going songwriting wise, because pre-chorus knocked it out of the park with adding a little bit more syncopation, a little bit more movement. But then it just didn't lift into that placement where, so if you're doing, I'm not really awake, let there be an announcement melodic wise where that really elevates that whole point. So let me go to the pre really quick to show you what I mean. The noise outside. Okay, so when we get to that section there, you got the guitars doing that high pitch one, and then you're lifting up melodic voice, right? So, but there's something great inside. So you're going up, you're elevating, great, and you had me started lifting up, but then you we gotta. So I fall or I'm not asleep. Like we gotta lift it up there. And then you go back up, and it's like, what? You had me, man. But then we went back down. It didn't really lift for me. So when you go back to that G, so just announce it. Just let that guy just. So I know. Right to that beat, like make it more of an announcement, make it more of a like this thing there, and if you don't want to go there melodically, just something that just really it's difficult. Like, yes, technically, you don't have to go there for this to be good. You can go anywhere you want melodically, but the one that just kind of just sticks out and becomes a powerhouse are the ones that just adds those dynamics and creates that journey melodically driven for the listener to be like, there. I mean, take Creep, for example. That'd be a good reference. So I'm a creep, right? Like, we go in there. And yeah, I think that's something to consider. I'm not sure if you're here, Todd, if that makes any sense. But yeah, excuse me. We got a lot of rock stuff going on here today, man. So this is really cool. All right, so let's dive right in. We got Kodia here. Okay. So Kodia, I know you're here. Let me know. You've got a link here. I guess this is the link. Is this the one? Yeah. Not sure. Okay, great. Let's check this out.
From diamond eyes, baby, I'm back. I've been drinking more alcohol for the past 5 days. Did you check on me? Now did you look for me? I walked in the room, I got red, and I don't smoke banga. Did you check on me? Did you check on me? Now did you notice me? Nobody we know the paranoia. Cause I put a smile on my face. The facade you can never face. And if you don't know me well, you won't see how buried I am inside my grave. Inside my grave.
Baby, calm down, calm down. Yo, this your body, it puts in my heart for lockdown, oh lockdown. Yo, you sweet life, phantom, phantom. If I tell you, say I love you, you know they for me, young girl, oh young girl. No, tell me, no, 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 oh, oh. Baby, calm down, calm down. Calm down, calm down. Baby, calm down, calm down. Calm down, calm down.
From diamond eyes, baby, I'm back. I've been drinking more alcohol for the past 5 days. Did you check on me? Or did you look for me? I walked in the room.
Yeah, man. Solid vibe. All right. So there's something distinct without the vocal chops and the vocal edits that's happening in that second verse. We're at the killer job, by the way, Kodia. You freaking just above and beyond. So really good. So there's something here. If I to A-B this verse, this second verse here, there's something really cool about the stripped back minimalism thing that's happening here, as opposed to when we get to this first verse. Okay, so you've got a lot of activity going on in the first verse, and then when you compare that to the second verse, it's stripped down a little bit more. It actually became more inviting. I might want to consider not swapping, but stripping down going down to the minute without the type crazy percussion that's going on here. Right. So I'm kind of jumping into a scene of a movie. Like I'm walking into the middle of a movie. That's how I feel with this first verse. So just introduce it, right? The thing is, the swag and the flow of that vocal is just it's just a little bit more enticing when it gets to the minimal. I'll just play the effect here. Listen to the difference here when we play this one.
I've been drinking more alcohol for the past 5.
And then listen to this.
From diamond eyes, baby, I'm back.
I mean, I wouldn't do the vocal edits either. Not just yet. I let her do her thing, or him, or just let the vocal just do their thing, but stripping down to that.
I've been drinking more.
Just like the beat that you have without the percussion, use the percussion to come in later to build a little bit more dynamics and excitement and rocking into that chorus vibe that you've got. Does that make sense? Does that make sense in mono? I know I'm coming in mono, but yeah, I think that's because when something happened. Like I felt like when I came into this verse, you know what it does? You know that clack, clack, clack that's going on? That is the neck breaker. That's the metronome. That's the timekeeper for me. And just let that sway, right? Let that go in. And let the other guys just accentuate that. And then you rock the chorus. Sex is freaking dope. I love this vibe.
Calm down. Yo, this your body, it puts in my heart for lockdown.
Great job, man. And I love the chord changes. Where you going with that? Yeah. Yeah, it's so tempting to just go overboard and do all these glitch stuff with the vocals. Sometimes it just means like, yo, the vocal did his thing. It's dope. It's got the swag. Just let it breathe. Let me create a little thing there. You're making your statement with the chorus so much that the verses can strip back a little bit. Fire, bro. Fire. I hope that makes sense. All right. Erica, you've got a question here. Let's go. What types of exercises do you do to help train your ear? Do you just use headphones to practice, or do you also use your monitors? I use both. I mean, obviously, it's all about the working environment. I'm in my own little private studio here, so I've got my 3 sets of monitors. I've got my iLouds here. I've got the KRKs, and I have my oh my gosh, the Auratones, right? I have little Auratone ones. The best way to really exercise my ear training is just wash, rinse, repeat. And it's going to be, you have to anchor it to something, right? So you get reference, you anchor, you get a loop, you try to recreate that, and you A/B what you're doing over to that. And then you just use the tools, and use bare minimum tools. You should be able to use like a little bit of EQ, maybe some stuff to control dynamics or whatever. But the reality is, the way I've been training my ears is just like listening to a piece of music. I'm like what's going on there? And focusing it, stripping it down by layers. So like the bass, what would that sound be? And then describing it. It's got this metallic sound. It's rubbery. Okay, how can I get there? That would be the best way to train your ears. As far as like frequencies and things like that, you're just going to have to get so used to your equipment, whether it's headphones, whether you're mixing all in headphones, whether you're doing it in your room or both. It's just repetition. We have to have this sober assessment, realizing that just because we have the ease and access to so much information out there that's bombarding us with like, hey, here's 5 tips to get better mixes or all this stuff. When you're getting all this stuff, and I'm getting sucked into it. I realize in order for Beat Academy to grow, I have to just continually pump out more content and stuff like that. But I'm treading that fine line of just like doing content for content's sake, or hey, here's information that can really be helpful. But I'm not saying that all that's bad. But what I'm saying, what I'm seeing happen is a lot of people are just looking for the next key to unlock the door really quickly, and not realizing there's a long gap of time that people are undergoing to experience the maturity and growth that they want to experience. Does that make sense, everyone? So I think sometimes we get the really quick snippets, the footnotes, but we don't realize like, oh wow, there's a lot that gets invested into that. And the footnotes are put there from the experience and the meaning that's being drawn out from the text of someone's chapter, right? So I hope that makes sense, Eric. I'm not trying to belittle, or I'm not trying to pass off the answer. I think the way I do it is I just lock in a loop or a 4-bar riff, and I try to identify one thing from that riff that I want to replicate and recreate. And that's how I train my ear to then become very familiar with how to access or get close to that sound. Yeah. It's a great question, by the way. And there's great sites and tools too. I think there's like there's websites that help you train your ear, become familiar with certain frequencies, what's boxy, what's boomy, what's brittle, things like that. You do need the keys though when you get there. Yeah, absolutely. But let's get there. All right, so we have Natalia.
I'll protect you.
closet hiding from her fears, punching shoulders to seem unseen, so green. No escape from the storm. You have seen it many times before. Same old nightmare once more at rain. Can't hold. Kiddo, I will be around. Guarded, I'll protect you from all harm. Kiddo, just give me your hand. And when the darkness falls, I'll be right by your side. We'll stand.
So yeah, I remember when we played this the last call. I think so much has improved in just your vocal delivery and overall confidence in the way you're delivering that. So Natalia, good job. I don't know if you're here, you probably watched the replay, but yeah, good job on that. So we're starting off with the chorus, right? And that doesn't necessarily mean that we have to start off with all the elements that we have in the chorus in a later part of the arrangement. So if you're starting off, you know, right? That's really cool. So I would probably have hint the chorus progression, not have all the elements such as like the drums and things like that. So like, for instance, you have this part here. So that part there, you see how you have the riff, the a little eeriness there. Could probably start the track like that with you singing the chorus. So like, so with that, you don't understand it there, all that to the center at the standing there, right? Ooh, and then boom, just slowly start break. I don't know where to lay, and start dynamically building it. Because when you come in with everybody, when you just dump the whole bucket at first, it just feels okay. We're here. And where do we go from there? So I think maybe a little bit more on dynamics in the arrangement will give you some runway to do that. So maybe not having the drums and the percussion right away, you can start bringing them as you start to grow. But I think even just trying it out. I mean, we won't know until you try it. But starting out with like, so just a little bit of ambience, just some kind of set the tone at the very beginning for a little bit. It's okay to come in with the chorus. That's totally fine. And then rock into the verses with maybe a little bit of the dynamics, maybe a little bit of the drums. Boom, 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 ka, boom, boom, ka. I would work a little bit on the sound selection with the drums too, just something that can create a little bit more dimension.
And when the darkness falls, I will be right by your side.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit more verb that can give it some space and just an environment where the drums can live in. But does that make sense, everybody? So I have a question here. Let me make sure I jump on that. Sorry, John, I didn't see it before. But John's asking, do you think the term like boxy, boomy, used consistently among producers also, do you think the terms like boxy, boomy that are used consistently among producers? Also, I've heard the term warm to describe losing some of the higher frequencies. I'll currently seek out. Yes. Well, yeah, so there are some common terms that are just vernacular. That's just no, thank you for clarifying. Yeah, there's certain terms that are just used, you know, it's lingo that producers, mixing engineers use. But you always have to define the terms, right? Maybe boxy and boomy for somebody might just mean something else, but most likely they're referring to the tone, the tonality of that sound. It's like, hey, it's really boxy, meaning that the you know, it's a band pass, right? You're losing low end, you're losing high end, and it's all the energy and is focused in the middle. You know, bright, brittle, that's just referring to the high end. Boomy, low end stuff. So yeah, it's just becoming familiar with that, understanding and articulating what does more of this certain frequency make me feel. What does it make, or what's the tone it gives to the sound? And I think that's kind of how you describe what you're doing with the EQ and things like that. All right, AIA Wilkinson, let's jump right in. So this has got really cool ambience, really cool stuff. I mean, just one thing that's like, those notes here that it's like that one note there. Yeah, I guess like the notes technically, yeah, it's fine. You could do that. I think it's just the tone or the type of sound that is lingering that just feels weird. I think it's a cool vibe, definitely cool. I think the balance needs to work out, between the kick that we have going on here. Yeah, I think all around it's just like you nailed the vibe. If you're going for this kind of atmosphere and stuff like that, it's really, really cool. I think just be mindful of some of those note selections, especially when they're used in the sense where there's arpeggiated or delayed effects to it, right? The delay of that sound or that pitch or that note continues to delay and adds a little bit of dissonance to other notes or other progressions. So that's just something to keep in mind when kind of working with that stuff. So it does have a little bit of each repetition and the payoff to it, right? Yeah, it's really great vibe. So Wildflower, super fresh. Here we go.
Tide Power Pods have 85% more Tide.
Freaking
Who
ads.
needs that much more time?
All right. Sorry guys, I gotta check the account. I thought I had an ad-free account for some weird reason, and now here we are. I'm talking about Tide. I was like, I hit play. Anyways, we'll take this time. Any questions you guys might have, just hit the Q&A button, and we will get to some of those questions in a bit. Let's just check in.
I lost myself. I don't know where to find her. Help me find her. Yeah, 1 second and you're gone the next. Makes me feel like I'm depressed. Help me find her. Oh, darling, wake up. You've been sleeping for far too long. Come now, darling, wake up. You've been sleeping for far too long. I lost myself. I don't know where to find her.
What a crazy vibe. I'm reading like she's saying I couldn't sleep last night, so I got up and wrote these. I love those quick, crazy, impromptu overnight production stuff. That's usually sometimes the best stuff we make, is like those things that just come out of nowhere and hit us. So really, really cool. Yeah, this is something completely unlike anything you've ever submitted and played for. So Waffle, I'm not sure if you're here, but yeah, really, really, really cool vibe. Let me go back to this section.
Darling, wake up. You've been sleeping for far too long.
So something that just stuck out that I thought would be good. So you've been sleeping for far too long. You can go to that. Go to that, like, go from that minor, that major minor, the other way around. So you've been been sleeping for far too long. Down. Just don't ready to go out. It's so needed to so. Yeah, I don't know. Just something that was here. No. But anyways, like keeping your progression the same, but your vocal melody just goes down to the F sharp. That'd be really cool contrast. Really cool vibe. Definitely would like to see you like flesh this out a little bit more. And it's interesting how like, and you still maintained a lot of the signature sound or the signature vibe that you normally go into when you're producing stuff, and it just still comes through here. This is cool. Like this is a really cool look and sound. Yeah. So definitely have it treated. I mean, this is gonna need a little bit time or just finessing. See, the more intricate with those edits and all this cool stuff there, this is where you want to just like, okay, let's take time, get this finessed, balanced out well. Love the vocals to come in and you know, a little bit more with the reverb and space. So right, just a little bit more length out there, so it's just more prominent, more dramatic on that. But all in all, a really cool vibe. So great job, Giorgio. Yeah, it's such a really cool vibe. Really cool vibe. A little more presence. I would like a little bit more presence, or just the bass to be a little bit more pronounced. Boom, 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 boom. That just kind of helps just bounce the track along. You can tighten up the snare drum a little bit, add some room reverb. You know, send a little bit room reverb so it has a little bit of a tail and it's not so dry. But I do love, somebody was commenting on the quirky little hi-hats. I love them too. I think they're really cool. Yeah, don't forget that when you build out these instrumental tracks, when you have stuff like this, don't forget. I know that sometimes the idea is, okay, we're gonna add. That's great, but remember, you can also add through subtraction. And what I mean by that is, as you start to build up in your arrangement, you can do certain moments where you drop things out, and then you have just bare elements there. That's where we see some dynamics take place in your arrangement. So, you know, like. You see, you do it there, but we're about 3 minutes and 15 seconds in. So you can strip stuff down throughout the arrangement to really just add some tension and release. And that's an important aspect too. So might want to consider that certain things either drop out or then come back in and things like that. That could be really, really cool stuff. Yeah, really cool thing. All right, Frunk Beats. Let's do this. Is the mix all right? We'll find out. Do the different drum parts work? Let's weigh that in as we listen.
They say I'm lucky, but they don't live inside my head. It's where the demons at. It's where the demons at. They say I'm lucky, but they don't live inside my head. It's where the demons at. It's where the demons at. They say I'm lucky, but they
Yeah, so I understand your question now. I see the context. So you're asking like, okay, we've got these three different vibes, drum-wise, percussion-wise, and just the rhythm-wise. Do they all work? Now, technically, yes, they all work because they're all in time, and it works, right? It's in time with everything else. But as far as like, okay, when I'm trying to ask myself, you know, it's hard because it is a subjective. Here we have preference versus principle, right? This is going to be more preference than principle. When we play this first drum beat here,
say I'm lucky, but they don't.
what, and I'm going to ask this to everyone here live. Do you, let's play this first beat, and the question I'm going to ask is, are they two similar vibes or two separate vibes? So just type in different or same vibe.
They say I'm lucky, but they don't live inside.
So similar, same vibe, even though we have musicality in the back, like strings and the vocal. They're two, they right, different. They're two different vibes. And so when you're trying to cement down, it's like, okay, what's the emotion? What's the attitude, the overall vibe that I'm getting when I have this drum beat? And there's something about the sparseness of like the trap drums that we hear at the beginning with the vocal on top. Remember that's a whole other thing to consider. The sweet angelic vocal with the trap beat. By the way, that rim knocker, that snare is really heavy on the right side. It's a little off, so you might want to center that.
Inside my head is where the demons at.
Yeah, it's different, but it's not wrong. And that's what I'm trying to get at here. It's not that this is the right beat to use, that's the wrong beat, or this is the one you should be using. It really comes down to like, okay, what is the emotion? Where am I getting at with this idea, with this track? What am I envisioning? What is it that I'm trying to say? What's the journey I want to take the listener on? And it's okay to have multiple drum beats on a track. That's totally fine. That's not what I'm saying here. What I'm saying here is like, is that part of the vision? Or are you just like, I'm not really sure, I'm not really certain, I liked all of them, so I wanted to put them all. All right, well, like, this is something that cool vibe, and I would love to hear the vocal over that one. So, but that's a preference thing for me, right? So, but it would help to have some kind of consistency, a little bit more than just like a 8-bar point or 8-bar anchor of that. So I would yeah, just gravitate towards maybe one, and then you can use the trap to kind of flip it every now and then going back to the main one. And then you're asking about the sub. So you have the 808, and it seems to be getting lost. I'm not sure if it's out of phase or something's going on with that 808. it could be also note selection. Yeah, so you've got like these cool little sections of these ideas, but they don't seem to all be connected cohesively. So we need to add some connective tissue to all these ideas. So first, let's work on that. Then with the 808, just be sure that the note selection, because every time when you use an 808, the higher you go up with the notes, it's going to resonate different, and you actually lose some of the low end. So there's a specific small bracket of a range that an 808 sits well, and you just kind of have to play around with that. It's okay if you do octave like glides and boom, boom, right? To do that, that's totally fine. But just make sure that your 808 isn't getting, keep it centered, meaning that don't pan the 808, don't add reverb to the 808. You want to just keep it dry and centered. Maybe even some saturation will help the reverb, the 808 to stick out a little bit more in that. So I hope that's helpful, Frank. I'm not sure if you're here or not, but yeah. Raphael B, let's do this. So cool, so cool. I love the vibe, and I love that the tree. I'm not sure if you're doing it. I'm not sure if you're here, but there's that Max for Live tree noise or ambient thing. I love using. That's so cool. I think I'm hearing it on this, which is awesome. But yeah, those strings you have at the beginning, the rain, rain, just I would wet them a little bit more with reverb, because you want some more space, right? And you want some a little bit of connection between each thing. So some reverb with some tail on there would be great. Just create a little bit more space so it's not so clearly up front, and it'll wash it a little bit, give a little bit of dimension. I think, yeah, that it could just use some space there. Even just wetting a couple more things here with a little bit of verb and delay could go a long way there. So, but all in all, great job. Fert Cho is asking, what advice do you have to mix vocals to make them feel like it's merged or in the same room as the music? Well, the reality is your vocals will never be in the same room as the music, because if you're doing the music internally, right, in your DAW, well, that's not true. Let me backtrack that. What I meant was, the goal is when you're working with vocals, the goal is when you add a reverb or you add delay, you're creating dimension. You're actually allowing it to sit further back in the mix or in front of the mix. The drier the vocal is, the more upfront it's going to be. The wetter it is with reverb, the more further back in the mix it's going to be. So it's all about like what space do you create that vocal to sit in, that you're also sharing with the mix. So the best advice I can give you is start using, instead of insert effects on the vocal where you're dragging a reverb, a delay, and putting it directly on the vocal, use it on a send or use it on a return track or a bus. So you will bus or send. Cho, let me ask you, are you using Logic or Ableton or Pro Tools? Essentially, you want to have your reverb on a return track or an auxiliary track, and you're sending a little bit of that vocal to that. You might also send some other vocals and some other things to that similar reverb. And experiment, not just using one reverb, but have a, okay, great. So you do use the buses. So having a plate verb and then having a room verb and mixing between the two. You're a Reaper user. Great. Okay, so using a hall and a room and then blending the two together and then sending some of the instruments to the room, sending a little bit of the vocal to the room as well, but yet majorly sending some of the vocal to the hall to have a little bit more depth. And I just put out like a YouTube short talking about how you can use a compressor sidechain to the vocals after the reverb, so that when the vocal is being heard, the reverb ducks down, and then when the vocal leaves, the reverb tail comes out. I love that method. It helps bring more clarity to the vocal, but yet gives the space that you're looking for. So yeah, I put a YouTube short, should be coming out today or tomorrow, that talks about that. So yeah, really good. All right. Dason Johnson, let's roll. I apologize once again for the mono voice, but I'd rather have the music in stereo. Okay, so right here, this section where you're doing this cool little vamp up, this build up, don't forget to actually do this with the drums. A great way to build tension in moments like this is you can actually sweep the low end of your tracks. So for instance, what I sometimes would do is I'll group all my drums into a drum bus. I'll group the basses to a bass bus, and I put like a EQ or a filter set to high pass. And as it's building, boom, 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 I just start sweeping the low end off away. So the track gets thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner. And then when we get to the next part, bypass that and just the bottom comes back in again. So it's a great way to add this tension. So, and I think that's what would be great here. So considering this is where you'd go that extra step into like, okay, I've got the bones. I think it's a dope idea. This track is got a really cool vibe to it. Now it's all about just creating those nuances that build the tension and release in certain sections. So consider maybe every 16 bars, what drops, what thing can you do to announce the next section, just so there's a little bit more excitement. I'm taking that this would be something great to pitch for sync. And so what music editors in sync really love is that you have a lot of those transitional moments. You have a lot of those moments where the editor can be like, that's beautiful. I can use that because I can wrap up my commercial with that section there. So you want to always give some of those little stingers that just introduce these type of sections a lot more. Does that make sense? So yeah, you can kind of do, DJs do this all the time. So as they start to build up, they get their knobs and they just swoop out all that low end, and then they just bring the low end back right there. So yeah, more transitions can really be helpful. yeah, if you want to do like another version that's just like, Stinger version where it has a lot more of that, I think it'd be great. But all around, really cool vibe. Love the intro. Love what you did with the loop. It's super cool. Yeah, and again, having a breakdown where there are no drums going on, Yeah, just having a breakdown where it's like just maybe the music just goes off, and then you build up and then reintroduce the drums back again. Just we're creating that dynamic journey, and that'll be really helpful. It'll just give the production to just breathe a little bit more. Okay, we've got George produces.
Yeah. Young Money, Nicki Minaj, Justice.
Show you off. Tonight I wanna show you off. What you got? A billion could've never bought. We gonna party like it's 30-12 tonight. I wanna show you all the finer things in life. So just forget about the world we on tonight. I'm coming for ya, 'cause I need is a beauty and a beat who can make my life complete. It's all about you when the music makes you move. Baby, do it like you do. I need is a beauty and a beat who can make my life complete. It's
So this is cool. Let me just play a little bit on this section here.
girl, like you do.
So yeah, so the potential's there, and what I'd really do, what I do like is that I'm hearing that you've got this acapella, and it's actually something I encourage is like having acapellas there can be really beneficial into just navigating. Okay, cool. This is it. Kind of just helps. It gives you guardrails, so to speak, as to like what to add and where to go with the arrangement. So like when you're doing a remix to something like this, it's pretty cool. Now we could use a lot more excitement production wise as we start to get into this section here, especially the big payoff when we get into that chorus section. So the bass isn't present there, or I'm not sure if I'm sure it's there, but you got the kick drum doing a lot of low end. But let's get like a bass that's just really announcing those chord changes you're doing. So, right, you're going to the G, right? Just make it really noticeable that those are the changes we're doing. Get a bass line, maybe one that's a sub, and then duplicating that bass line where it's more of a like a sawtooth with some distortion on there that you can then blend, put some chorus on there so it winds up, but just something with that just some kind of tonal presence that identifies, okay, here's the low end, you know, and then probably just kind of revisit the sound selection overall when it comes to the drums, and adding a little bit more top end production to just give it more energy and life as we get there, you know, just like. So yeah, it's just right now, it's just that the kick is just dominant, and we're hearing the same similar melodic elements just continuously going. Let's add some more of the percussive elements, and then I can make that more of a party. So yeah, I think that could be really, really helpful. Yeah, and then we got Alessandra. Let's check this out.
I've already
I want to talk about something there. So, you're going to that E flat, which I think the E would be such a better resolution there, right? Because it'll just support that vocal. And I'm saying that because that vocal line you're doing, hey, the vocal melody is actually really great here. And I love that you start to double the vocals at the pre, you start to elevate that. So melody and the direction, and that's the power of having a great melody, that it can really just take a lot of the attention away of the lack of, the production there. And obviously, yes, we want to beef up the production. We want to work on revisiting the sound selection for the drums, maybe even some of the sounds. But it's like, hey, I just threw these things together as just like a way to just put this vocal down. Then granted, yeah, you really laid down the red carpet for the vocal melody, because it shows. Let me see if it plays again here at this section. Is it not playing? I think I have to restart this page. But yeah, for the most part, you're doing to the F sharp, and then to the F sharp, right? And then to the, you go to this note there. I would just go a half step higher. Whew. That just resolves a lot better with that. Yeah, so you're walking into that. I'm already there, right? Feeling out of stay. Instead of, so now you can go anywhere you want. That's the beauty of music, right? It's like, no, I'm doing the E flat because I want to. It's like, okay, great. And then you could, what I definitely want to do is maybe visit the drum programming, the drum sound selection. Probably better off either, just coming across a loop that has that same pattern, but yet some of the sounds are well more glued together. And yeah, I think we can filter the pads or the organs, whatever's going on there in the verses a little bit more, because it's still not letting the vocal kind of breathe and take full spotlight. Yeah, that's a really cool. There's a seed there that needs to blossom into something. I love the tone of your vocal, love the tone of your voice, and it's just like maybe instead of having to lift the burden of trying to get great sounding drums and a great sounding bass line and a great progression, maybe just finding a drum groove already, whether it's a splice account or something like that, finding a drum loop or a kick and snare that's already sampled there, that's got more of that presence, putting it there rather than you trying to like learn how to program the drums, mix the drums, and then get them to sound great. You're probably better off just finding a loop that works, putting it there, and going to what you do best, which is probably just putting down that melody and rocking it like that. Does that make sense, everybody? If it makes sense, let me know. Just type in Y. If it doesn't, you can type in no or N. Okay, there you go. Alessandro, you're here. Great. Fantastic. I'd just like to chime in, make sure you guys are alive there. Yeah, it's sometimes you don't have to carry the whole burden yourself, especially if you're just starting off in producing your music. The reality is sometimes you don't want to get caught in the, okay, I'm just learning how to make my own music. I've got these ideas, but now I got to learn how to program the drums. Now I got to learn how to mix the drums. I got to learn about saturation, EQ, all this stuff. I was like, well, you know what? Just find a drum loop that's already gone through that process, throw it in there. I'm like, okay, great. Sounds good. Let me just put a bass line down. Let me put the melody down. I'd rather you do that, not having to carry the... And then as you grow more into it, you start to become familiar. Okay, why does this drum loop just work so well compared to my programmed drums? They seem to be snappier. They seem to be punching a lot harder. How do I get that? And then you dive into those nuances and understanding that and unpacking that. But I think if you're writing songs like that, if you're putting your melodies down like this, and you've got that kind of tone of vocal, I would rather you spend more time in developing that skill, getting those songs out and things like that, than trying to get stuck with getting that right perfect snare drum. Okay. Well, that was oh, Erica, you snuck one in. Oh, good on you, Erica, because I was about to just wrap it up. But Erica said, no, I will not let that happen. All right, we got time for Erica, and then we're going to sign off for today. But let's check this out.
And now an overly direct
And a
spokesperson
freaking
for
ad.
DirecTV.
Dang it. All right, well, let's open up the chat. So Jason Johnson's asking, do you need a physical sub to mix sub bass accurately, even working with real bass, for example? No. You don't. Having a sub bass can be beneficial and helpful to identify, yeah, there's some like really sub stuff. But again, adding a sub to your listening environment also has to have you have to emphasize the room environment as well. You have to acoustically treat for a sub. If I were to add a sub now here, I'd have to kind of like retune the room, not necessarily retune it, but just kind of get re-familiar with my work environment because there's now a sub. So when it comes to just balancing out the subs, you want to get some decent monitors that have some low end frequency response to that. But the reality is it's your room that plays more tricks on you than you know. So if you're adapting to headphones, then it's important that you also just use references. You go back and forth. I mean, how does the low end feel on this one compared to yours? And just gauge it that way to really have a preference of where your sub should be sitting. All right. All right, let's go check out Erica's tune here. Here we go.
If love is a skill, let me practice on you. If love is a skill, let me practice on you. If love is a skill, let me practice on you. If love is a skill, I've got so much practice to do.
Erica, real quick, this is where it all came together. Like, when we got into this, everything, all the elements here, this is where everything's like, ah, okay, cool. So the beginning section here, when we were at this, and it's not to say that you can't have like the different beat there. So what was throwing me off in this section was the relationship between that 808 or distorted bass, the timing wise. There were some moments where it was off time, and you had some chords there that were just falling off time as well. I think that's dope. If love is, and with that thing filter up, having it filter that was really cool. So right. Yeah, I think there was some chords there. Yeah, that just weren't working with the bass, so definitely revisit that. But yeah, everything really hits the ground running when we get into that section there. Maybe just hinting a little bit more elements from that, or maybe just starting off. I would like to see another version. I would maybe try another version where we go into like this section. So like maybe hinting, you know, that section because it's dope. Like that vibe. You know, if love is gonna have that just broken down minimal, you can, right, and then like bringing some of those elements in, and then just jumping into that drop that way. Just kind of just visiting the arrangement a little bit to kind of get to this section here. Yeah, and just, you know, I'm not talking about the mixed stuff, but you can get a little just peek into the relationship between that distorted bass and the kick. The kick is just going to get a little bit more of the knock, and the bass gets a lot more of the low end. So just keep that relationship there that way. But that's definitely a vibe. Such a good vibe, for real. So yeah, keep working at it. Keep messing with it. It's there. Just needs the fine tuning. Maybe mess around with the arrangement, see how we creep into that section a little earlier. Not earlier, but in the sense of like hinting more of that. Does that make sense? All right, great job, Erica. So guys, this is a lot of fun. I will try to fix the whole mono stereo thing for next time. Before I usually used would have the OBS set up to route into YouTube for streaming, but hey, we're here. We made it. Thank you for submitting your tracks. So what we do is once a month we do this section where we're listening to your music, giving you feedback on that, and super excited about what I'm hearing because this is really good stuff. So definitely keep an eye on upcoming briefs and opportunities that I'll be posting in the community. I'll make announcements so you get pinged in your inbox for that, and you can direct your attention to the challenges and the opportunities and things like that and make the most of it. Well, thank you guys so much for being awesome, because that's what you are. You're truly awesome. Loved what I'm hearing. Such great job. Great work. I'll be posting the replay on this in the same meetup link. We'll also post it in the circle, in the chat for you guys to check out. Take care, and I'll see you next time.